Do you love watching English movies but always turn on subtitles? What if I tell you that you can understand English movies without subtitles? Yes, it's possible. In this video, I will share some simple and powerful tips that will help you understand English movies easily. If you follow these tips regularly, your listening skills and English understanding will improve a lot. Our channel is new, so please support us by subscribing and help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Your one subscribe can really motivate us to create more helpful videos for you. Now, in this video, I will share 10 simple points that will help you understand English movies without subtitles. 1. Start with easy movies. If you want to understand English movies without subtitles, the first step is to start with easy movies. Many beginners make the mistake of watching very complicated movies with fast dialogues and difficult vocabulary. When you start with those movies, it becomes hard to understand what the characters are saying, and you may feel frustrated. Instead, choose simple movies that are made for teenagers or young audiences. These movies usually have easy vocabulary, slower conversations, and clear pronunciation. Because the language is simpler, it becomes much easier for you to understand the dialogues and follow the story. Another benefit of watching easy movies is that the situations and conversations are usually very common, like school, friendship, family, or daily life. This helps you learn words and sentences that are useful in real-life conversations. When you start with simple movies, your brain slowly gets used to the sound of English. After some time, you will notice that you can understand more words and sentences without subtitles. Once you feel comfortable, you can gradually start watching more advanced movies. So always remember, start easy, build confidence, and then move to harder movies. 2. Watch movies you already know. Another very helpful tip is to watch movies whose story you already know. When you are already familiar with the story, it becomes much easier to understand what the characters are saying in English. For example, if you have watched a movie before in your own language or you already know the plot, you don't have to focus too much on understanding the story. Instead, you can focus more on the English words, sentences, and pronunciation used in the movie. When you already know what is happening in the scene, your brain can easily guess the meaning of new words from the situation. Even if you don't understand every word, you can still understand the overall conversation because you know the context of the story. This method also reduces confusion and helps you feel more confident while watching English movies. You will notice that you start recognizing common phrases and expressions used by the characters. So try watching your favorite movies again in English. Since you already know the story, understanding the dialogues will become much easier and more enjoyable. 3. Listen carefully to pronunciation. When watching English movies, it is very important to listen carefully to how the actors pronounce words. Many English learners only focus on reading subtitles, but they do not pay attention to the actual sound of the words. If you want to understand English movies without subtitles, you must train your ears to recognize how words are spoken. Actors in movies often speak with different accents and speaking styles. Some may speak fast, while others speak slowly and clearly. By listening carefully, you start to notice how words are connected in natural conversation. Sometimes native speakers join words together or shorten them, which can make them sound different from what you learned in textbooks. For example, phrases like going to may sound like gonna, and wanna may sound like wanna. When you listen carefully to pronunciation, you begin to recognize these natural speaking patterns. A good practice is to repeat the dialogues after the actors. Pause the movie and try to say the sentence the same way the actor said it. This not only improves your listening skills, but also helps improve your own pronunciation. Over time, your ears will become more familiar with different accents and speaking styles, and it will become much easier to understand English movies without subtitles. 4. Watch the same scene again. If you don't understand a scene while watching an English movie, don't worry at all. This happens to almost everyone who is learning English. Instead of skipping the scene, the best thing you can do is watch the same scene again. Repeating scenes is a very effective way to improve your listening skills. When you watch a scene for the first time, your brain is trying to understand many things at once, like the story, the characters, and the language. Because of this, you might miss some words or sentences. But when you watch the same scene again, your brain becomes more relaxed because you already know what is happening. During the second or third time, you will start noticing new words, clearer pronunciation, and small details in the conversation that you missed earlier. Sometimes you may suddenly understand a sentence that sounded confusing before. You can also pause the scene and listen carefully to difficult lines. Try to repeat the dialogue after the actor. This will help you remember the words and understand how they are spoken in real conversations. Watching the same scene again may seem simple, but it is a very powerful learning method. The more you repeat and listen, the better your brain becomes at catching English words and understanding conversations. 5. Learn common movie vocabulary. Another helpful way to understand English movies without subtitles is to learn common vocabulary that is often used in movies. Many movies use similar words, phrases, and expressions in everyday conversations. When you learn these common words, it becomes much easier to follow what the characters are saying. For example, in many movies you will hear simple phrases like, "What's going on?" "Are you okay?" "Let's go," or "I'll call you later." These types of sentences are used very frequently in daily conversations. If you become familiar with these common expressions, you will start recognizing them quickly when you hear them in movies. You can also keep a small notebook or notes on your phone where you write down new words or phrases you hear while watching a movie. Later, you can review these words and try to remember their meaning. The more words you learn, the easier it becomes to understand conversations. Over time, you will notice that many movies repeat similar vocabulary and sentence structures. Because of this, your brain will start recognizing these words automatically, and you will understand dialogues faster without needing subtitles. So make it a habit to learn and remember common movie vocabulary. It will greatly improve your ability to understand English movies. 6. Don't try to understand every word. When watching English movies, many learners try to understand every single word. This is a very common mistake. If you focus too much on every word, you may miss the main idea of the conversation. It can also make you feel stressed or confused. Instead, try to focus on the overall meaning of the conversation. Even if you miss a few words, you can still understand what the characters are talking about by looking at the situation, their expressions, and the actions happening in the scene. For example, if two characters are arguing, you may not understand every word they say, but you can still understand that they are angry or having a disagreement. The story, background music, and body language can also help you understand the meaning. Remember that even native English speakers do not always catch every single word in fast conversations. What matters most is understanding the main message. So relax and enjoy the movie. Try to follow the story and understand the general idea instead of worrying about every word. 7. Use English subtitles first. If you find it difficult to understand English movies without subtitles, you can start by using English subtitles first. This method can help you connect the spoken words with the written words, which makes learning much easier. When you watch a movie with English subtitles, you can see the exact words that the characters are speaking. This helps you recognize new vocabulary, understand sentence structure, and notice how certain words are pronounced. It also makes it easier to follow the story without feeling confused. However, the goal is not to depend on subtitles forever. After watching the movie once with English subtitles, try watching the same movie again without them. Since you already know the story and have seen the dialogues before, it will be easier for you to understand what the characters are saying. This method trains your brain to first learn the words and then recognize them by sound. Over time, you will notice that you rely less on subtitles and can understand more just by listening. So use subtitles as a learning tool in the beginning, but gradually challenge yourself to watch movies without them. 8. Watch short clips regularly. Another effective way to improve your understanding of English movies is to watch short clips regularly. Instead of watching a full movie at once, try watching small clips or short scenes every day. This makes learning easier and less overwhelming. Short clips are easier to focus on because they usually contain a small conversation or a single situation. You can listen carefully to the dialogue, understand the context, and even repeat the clip several times if needed. This helps you catch more words and understand how sentences are used in real conversations. Watching short clips daily also builds a strong habit of listening to English. Even if you practice for just 10 to 15 minutes a day, it can make a big difference over time. Regular practice trains your brain to recognize English sounds, accents, and speaking patterns. You can pause the clip, repeat difficult sentences, and try to speak along with the characters. This not only improves your listening skills, but also helps with pronunciation and speaking confidence. So instead of watching long movies only once in a while, try watching short English clips every day. 9. Pause and think. A very useful way to understand English movies without subtitles is to pause the movie whenever you need. Sometimes the dialogues are fast, or the words are difficult to catch in real time. By pausing, you give yourself a moment to think about what the characters are saying and the meaning of the scene. When you pause, try to remember the words you understood and use the context of the scene to guess the meaning of unknown words. Look at the actors' expressions, body language, and actions. They often give clues about what is being said. Even if you don't understand every word, focusing on the overall meaning helps your brain start recognizing English naturally. Pausing also gives you the chance to replay the dialogue as many times as you need. You can listen carefully, repeat the sentences aloud, and practice pronunciation. This strengthens both your listening and speaking skills over time. By making pausing and thinking a habit, you train your brain to process English actively rather than just hearing it passively. With regular practice, understanding English movies without subtitles will become much easier and more enjoyable. 10. Practice every day. The most important tip for understanding English movies without subtitles is to practice every day. Learning a language is like training a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Listening to English regularly will gradually improve your understanding, pronunciation, and confidence. You don't need to watch full movies every day. You can practice with short clips, TV shows, YouTube videos, or even dialogues from your favorite movies. Even 15 to 20 minutes of daily practice can make a big difference over time. Daily practice also helps your brain get used to different accents, speaking speeds, and common phrases used in English. The more you expose yourself to the language, the faster your brain learns to recognize words and understand sentences naturally. Remember, it's okay if you don't understand everything at first. The important thing is to keep listening and learning every day. Over time, you'll notice that your ability to understand English movies without subtitles improves significantly. If you follow these 10 tips regularly, you will slowly start understanding English movies without subtitles. It takes practice, but it is definitely possible. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support our channel.